So the next thing we're going to go over is how to set up the test section. Now you can interchange these top and bottom blocks of the test section by pulling the tabs down on the bottom towards you, and then top, same thing. You do it on all four sides, and then you undo it. And you have the bottom removed. And you can interchange this. So, same thing with the top. I'm not going to do it. Now for lab 8 for measurements 1, you're just going to leave this as is and not touch it. Okay, so we have different shapes, like this airfoil here, that have different tubing on it. And you can see there's indents here and here. And you see 2 set silver screws here. You're going to want to loosen those up. You're going to put the airfoil in such that those divots go around those 2 screws you just loosened. And then you push it flat against the wall here. Then rotate it until you see the red line at 0 angle of attack. And then you're going to tighten it. And if you want to change to a different one, say the cylinder or the other airfoil, then you loosen this up, rotate it, and then pull out and put in the new one. And that's how you use the airfoils with this one tunnel setup. So now you're going to want to set up the manometer. There's 10 different manometers on this single unit. And they're labeled 1 to 10, starting from the right and going to the left. And you notice that there's hoses attached to it. Do not remove the hoses on the manometer. If you do, you get a 0 in the lab. So leave the hose attached to the manometer. And at the end of each of the hoses, at the end of each tube, there's a tag that tells you the number to which it's hooked up to the manometer. So the hose has a tag at the end with a number on it. That number corresponds to the number on the manometer here. So 1 at the end of the hose means it goes to 1 here on the manometer. So then, once you have that, on the back of the manometer, the way to zero it is you have this unit right here. There's a set screw here, and you move it up and down to change the height of the fluid in the manometer set. So what you're going to do is you're going to undo the set screw and then change the height of the water column. So you can see that it's going down because I'm moving it down. Now we move it back up, it'll go back up. I'm going to leave it at 6, that way in case the pressure that the airfoil is reading is actually higher than ambient, I will be able to see that. Because if I have it at 0 and if the pressure is higher, the water is going to go into the manometer itself and not show me any height. So if I make 6 my 0 point, then I can make 5 my -1, 4 -2, 3 -3, 2 -4, 1 -5. And then I can do the same thing with above. So now that we have the use of manometer set up, we're going to actually hook the tubes up to the airfoil. And you'll notice that there's silver tubes coming out the front of the faceplate. So I'm going to start with the first one being number 1 to my manometer and all the way to 9, because this only has 9 ports. And we're going to leave the 10th manometer open to ambient so you know what the pressure is inside the manometer if there is a pressure difference. So I'm going to take tube number 1 and I'm going to connect it to the first one on the airfoil. Make sure not to push it on more than maybe a 1/4 inch so that it's easy to take off. Then I'm going to take my tube number 2, push it onto the pole. Number 3, then number 4, then number 5, then number 6, number 7, number 8, and number 9. And then 10 I'm just going to leave open and not connect it to anything. So now that I have everything hooked up, I can go ahead and start the wind tunnel. and make sure my fog machine is working correctly. So once you have it all hooked up, you go ahead and start the wind tunnel. And then what you're going to do is go ahead and going to put a black background on it, so because it's white fog. And then what you're going to do is once the fog machine's hooked up, you're going to pulse it in 5 to 10 second pulses. And if you see the fog is too high, then you adjust the fog machine accordingly. So I move it down just a little bit. So now I move the fog machine down a little bit, and then I try again. And you can see the float's a little bit better, so I need to move down a little bit more. And then try it again. That's a pretty good location. I can see the flow on both the top and bottom. So now that I see that, what I can do is change the angle of attack of my airfoil by loosening the thumb screws, and then activating my fog machine for like another 5 seconds, and then you can see the vortexes on the top. And then keep on doing it again. And then you can see more and more of it, and you'll eventually will see flow separation. And if you go even higher past the stall point, you just won't see really much going on. And then when you're done, put it back to the 0 point. And you'll notice that the manometer heights will change, so you make note of that. And then you can calculate the pressure distribution across the airfoil. And that is how you use the wind tunnel for this lab.